Hello YouTube, Reseller Mom here. Welcome to today's video. Today is Wednesday, February 26th, and this is not a fun video. I'm actually quite sad. I received an email this morning from Barco1, one of my favorite things to source, asking me to cease and desist. So I wanted to do a quick video and, two parts to this video. One, to let you know that that's what happened, and two, walking you through the process of how I deal with this and what I'm going to be doing about it. So first part's done. I'm not going to probably be sourcing Barco1, and at the end of the day here, I have decided to comply with this. But I want to walk you through the process of how I came up with that decision, because each time I receive a cease and desist, there's a process that I follow, and a lot of times I wind up not complying. I'll be honest. A lot of times it's not something that's, something that I'm going to do. So it just depends on a lot of things. So let's walk through that. The first part here is there's kind of three ways I receive cease and desist. One is just a polite email. Sometimes it's a private email to my company email address, and sometimes it's actually through the Amazon channel. Today, this one was through the Amazon channel. The first email that I got was just from the person saying, "Hey, I am with Barco. Please contact me immediately." My responses to her have been short, precise, and to the point. We'll get into that in the end here. Okay, so polite email. The second way you can receive them is an attachment to that email, and they can look a little bit more formal, a little bit more threatening. They look, it's got letterhead. It looks like a real thing you should be complying with. The third way is you can get one physically in the mail. So that's kind of the three ways you're going to get it. The first thing to know is if you do receive any communications through Amazon, whatever it is, you've got 24 hours to answer within their response time, and you want to make sure you respond fast, because that goes into your matrices as a seller. So that's the first thing you do, is either respond, or a lot of times I hit no response needed, because I need to digest some information. I need to do a little bit of research. Whether it's a customer saying, "Where's my order?" or it's a cease and desist letter, I'm just going to hit no response needed and then go do some research and then maybe respond to them later time. Okay. So those are the three ways. Today I received the polite email. The first one was from somebody saying, "Please contact me immediately." So my response was, "Hello, how can I help you?" That's it, period. I don't want to make any assumptions. I don't want to be mean, rude, or anything like that. You want to put on your best customer service face for doing this. The next thing she said to me back was, "I am representing Barco, and we see that you are an unauthorized seller. We ask you to cease and desist, cease selling right away, immediately." They like to use the word immediately in their letters. Okay, so again, you need to hit no response needed or respond. And now I need to do some research and figure out my options. Okay. At first, I didn't know if it was going to be a cease and desist or if it was a MAP compliance thing. So that's why I did the first response before jumping to conclusions, even though the word MAP was in like her email title heading. Don't jump to conclusions on anything. You never know what the email is going to be about. Okay. You have two options when you get a cease and desist: comply, not comply. It's that simple. You need to decide whether you're going to comply or not comply. And there's several things that go into that decision for myself. The first thing I do is I take a deep breath. You got to take a deep breath. You got to hit that no response needed so you get your comply time in. And then you got to do a little bit of research and figuring out what's going on. So I usually get me a cup of coffee. I've been drinking my coffee this morning. I take a deep breath, because a lot of times I like to go into panic mode. Oh my God, I got a inauthentic claim or a cease and desist or a customer complaint or a feedback complaint. And I go right into panic mode from just my anxiety and stuff. So I'm trying to take some deep breaths. The next thing I do is I go through four things here. Is it real? Is it a real cease and desist, or is it just somebody blanketing emails out there? Second thing, how does this affect my business? Third thing is, how much of a threat is their business? And the fourth thing is, can I become an authorized reseller if it's something that I want to do? Okay, so The first part of figuring out if it's real or not, I Google the name and the company name, and if they give any other information, I will be Googling that. In this instance, I emailed her name, first name, last name, and company name is the information that I got off of the second email. So I was able to verify it on LinkedIn that she does work there. I found a contact phone number. I actually called, typed in, I had to go through the phone tree, where you type in their name and then it tells you, okay, we're connecting you to this person. And she didn't pick up, but I did receive a voicemail, and the voicemail confirmed that it was her with that company. Okay, so I verified that this person is real. You'll be surprised. If you're just starting out, you'll be surprised how many times you find out it's a third-party seller or just a blanket company that's doing them on behalf of another company. So if it's real, then I move on to the next step. How much of this is going to affect my business? I love selling the Barco One. It is with Burlington. It's pretty easy finds. I do love selling it, but if I were to cancel everything out today, how big of a pie is that? A piece of my pie? Not very much. What's the intent of my business? I want to go more towards wholesale. I've never really stated anything different. I love RA, I love OA, but my direction of my company and focus is going to be wholesale. So is this something that I can live without? Sure. I can drop them like a hot potato there. Okay, so the next thing is how much of a threat. There are some companies that just blanket these emails out all the time, like North Face. They blanket them out all the time. It's kind of known. That's something that I would ignore. If I got a cease and desist from North Face, I would kind of ignore it until I got other information to make me change my mind. Information's always changing, people. How can you find out if they're known for that or not? I have several Facebook groups, and in those Facebook groups, you can search the company name within that Facebook group. You can also do a Google search if you're not on Facebook or have access to that. So Google them and then Google things like inauthentic claims or, third-party sellers and that name, etc. And you can find out if they have a reputation for sticking with their words and taking sellers to court or whatnot. Like pop sockets right now is pretty hot in the media, and there's a couple of court battles going on with pop sockets. So pop sockets is one that I would stay away from big time because I don't sell enough of, well, I don't sell any of them, but if I sold them, I probably don't make a whole lot of money on them to justify going to court. Like at the end of the day, court is kind of there's a lot of steps in between, but court would be like the final step. And I don't have the money or time or resources for anything that I particularly sell at this moment to justify that. So even though Barco One is great for my business, it's not the end-all be-all for my business. How much of a threat are they? This was not a very threatening email, so I could just ignore it. That is definitely a possibility. I could ignore it. And then the fourth thing is, how do I become an authorized reseller? So I usually type in Barco wholesale application, type in Barco wholesale, go to the company website. That's usually where I start. So in this case, I went to the company website and they said, if you're interested in selling wholesale, email this person. So that's what I did. Went ahead and emailed, and my emails for everything is so simple. I keep it as few of words as possible. And I find that that's just a best practice in life, is to keep your emails short. I've seen some of the emails people have been sending out and I'm like, oh my God, nobody wants to read your book. Emails should be short and simple. Okay, so I emailed their wholesale person and I said, what is the process for setting up a wholesale account? And they emailed me back immediately, what country and what platform. So I emailed back USA and Amazon. They emailed me back almost immediately. This all happened this morning, so it was actually a pretty fast process. They emailed me back and said, at this time, we're not accepting Amazon sellers. We have a limited amount of Amazon sellers. If we decide to open up that again, you are now on our email list to be contacted to become a wholesaler when that opens up. Okay, that's not bad. The last thing that I have kind of ace up my sleeve is I'm going to ASD next month. So I can look for companies that are distributors that have the Barco product that I can link up with and become a purchaser from. So I will be looking at that in ASD in a couple of weeks. I'm so excited. Okay, where am I in my notes? I have figured out that I can't become an authorized seller today. They're not much of a threat. It is a real person and it doesn't affect my business much. So now I need to decide what I'm going to do. And at this point, I cannot comply. Totally a thing that I debated on doing. The other option is to go ahead and comply. And I still need to decide whether I'm going to email that person back or not. Again, I've already hit the no response needed button so that I am getting my performance metrics met. And I decided to go ahead and email them so that the threat level would be dissipated, and just email them that please allow some time for us to comply. And I always use the word us because it is a company. It's us, the company, not necessarily myself. I don't know. You want to look up the best terminology to use in emails. If you've never written professional emails, which I took a couple of courses on professional emails, and I was surprised at how many low-hanging fruit type of things are out there for people to write emails with. Anyhow, that was a long time ago. But I wrote back that please allow some time to comply with your request. Basically, that is stating that I intend to comply, but I've not given any time frame. If you say, please allow me 2 days to comply, guess what? They're going to follow up with you in 2 days. If you leave it vague, I don't know how long it will take. So I don't plan on really emailing anymore. I've considered this thing done on communication with this company. And again, it was my choice to comply. If you don't agree with that, that's fine. Now I need to figure out what else I need to do. So I've checking my notes here. So I've emailed them. I kept it really simple. I kept it really vague. Now I'm going to go into my repricer and price things to kind of move out inventory. I obviously want to get my capital back, a little bit of profit as well on any product that I have in Amazon. That's the best bet going, for that part. In my repricer, I have 2 repricing go-to matrices. One is my set it and forget it. It's where I say I want to have a minimum ROI. These are my price range. This is my minimum maximums. That's what most of my inventory is on. The other one I have is get rid of this SHIT. And that's my more aggressive repricer. So I went into my repricer and I repriced everything to my more aggressive repricing format. Now I haven't given the lady a time frame, so I'm going to see how it goes. And I like to give myself about a week at least till I follow up with this again. Now, I use Google Keep. And on my Google Keep, I will then make a little note at the very bottom of my daily to-do tasks that on the 26th, I have, dealt with this barcode thing and I need to follow up in about a week. So that way it stays on my to-do list, but it's at the bottom. It's just a little reminder to go back next week and check and see how much of my inventory I have left. The next thing that I'm going to do is my inventory that was sitting in the office, I'm going to return it. So I've gone through and I've reattached my tags. These little guns cost you $10. Seriously, I should have bought one of these a long time ago. I keep all of my little tags in the Walmart bread bags that are 3 cents a piece. When you work it out, it's like $3 for 100 of them. And so it's, anyhow, you can do the math. They're very cheap bags. So I keep all my little barcode, my store tags in there. So in case if I need to retouch them, I can find them, and they're done up by store. And then at the end, I just put, this is a shopping trip from this weekend or whatever you want to do to organize those tags. And they sit in the office for a while, and then eventually they go in the trash. But I went through and I retagged all of my barcode items to go ahead and return to Burlington, is where I bought it this week. Next, I took them out of the bag. It was kind of sad. I was very upset about it, but took them out of the bag, and then on my inventory lab batch sheet, I can scan this and then delete it out of that batch. So luckily I hadn't shipped that stuff out, or why is it I don't know. I'm glad I didn't ship it out because I can go return it to the store and get my money back. The other thing I like with Burlington is you can type in your phone number and have your reseller stuff in the computer system, and it keeps track of all the stuff you've purchased. So if you don't have your receipt on you, you can still return it if they can search it through that way. So I like Burlington in terms of returns. Okay, so in a week, I will check my inventory. I will see if they send me any more nasty grams or anything. And depending on how things go, I will probably just let my inventory sell out and not source them again. If I needed to recall the products, I then sell on eBay, Mercari. I just got on Mercari and Poshmark, and I started an Etsy account to sell things that way. You can't sell it on Etsy, but that's for other junk I have laying around. But so I would then set it up to sell on eBay, Mercari, or Poshmark, or return to the store if you're still within the return policy time frame. And last but not least, I have garage sale boxes lined up. So we're going to be doing a big garage sale in June. That's kind of the last place I want any inventory to go. Obviously, I want to make some profit. That's first goal. Second goal would be to get my capital back. Third goal would be to get anything back for the product, right? Okay, that is my process for dealing with each of these. Like I said, it's going to depend on a lot of different factors going into it. If I'm only selling one or two of the item, this one was a little bit more than one or two, but if I'm only selling a small amount of the item, a lot of times I just ignore it and then I sell out and I just note to self, don't sell that anymore, and I don't even respond. This one, since I do want to sell it again, I felt that it was good to be on good terms with the company, because this is a company that I do want to go forward with. A lot of times it's a company that I don't really care about, so I'm not going to follow up, email, and do any of this stuff. But each one is different. You have to decide what is best for your company and your direction, and you got to play that game. That's part of reselling. Customer returns, customer feedback, these types of things are just part of selling online, and you've got to recognize that and have just a plan on how you're going to deal with it. All right, guys, that is it. I wanted to share with you my morning that has been deeply interrupted by Barco, and I'm trying to get over my sadness. I'm sure a glass of wine later tonight will help me get over it. But I'm going to go return all my stuff this afternoon because I have other things to return, like a freaking deal from Ulta that they changed the ASIN. I wound up having to recall the product, and I'm going to go return it to the store. So I've got that return, this return. Returns happen. Just take a deep breath and get over it. All right, guys, take care.